You know the problem with traditional slavery used by the Roman Empire and the pharaohs. The problem was that the slaves knew they were slaves. They could see their chains and they could hear themselves being referred to as slaves by someone who called himself master. And so they worked badly. The slaves plotted mutinies. They dreamed of rising up and killing the boss, which is not a good atmosphere to have at the office. So slavery failed, but 2,000 years later a new form of slavery was born, a subtle, intelligent slavery, with invisible chains. And the slaves' bodies were unencumbered, so they imagined they were free, and they worked happily for their masters. And they never plotted mutinies, they never planned to rise up against them, because the masters didn't call themselves masters, and they didn't call the slaves slaves. They called them victims, victims of sexism, of poverty, of charity, of depression. Maybe you're a victim, or a patient, or a survivor, and you don't rise up because you can't see your chains. Imagine I'm a woman. I'm a victim of sexism, I'm told by the sexism industry. I'm despised by men. Men want to mistreat me, and underpay me, and make me fail at work. They're out to get me. And if I fail at work, I blame sexism, not myself. I don't try harder, I don't learn new skills or change my career. Why would I? Sexism makes me fail anyway. So I'm helpless and I fail more, which gives more proof that sexism makes me fail. But who wins out of all that? It's not me. The winners are the people who run sexism. The masters of sexism are my masters as well. And if I believe in sexism, I'm working for them, I'm failing for them, selling their books, promoting their websites, encouraging women to see sexism everywhere, and to inspect their past and their everyday lives for evidence of more sexism. Because the masters of sexism need sexism. I don't. I need to escape sexism, but I can't, because I can't see my chains. Or there's drugs. I might be a victim of drug use, and a drug counsellor who says I've got an addictive personality, making it harder for me to keep away from drugs, but actually making it harder for me to keep away from the drug counsellor. He's my master. I might be a victim of medicine and a long-term disease that science can't cure. There seem to be plenty of those around. High cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, which doctors have improvised out of other symptoms in order to sell us treatments. But if I'm a victim of high cholesterol or type 2 diabetes, I'm working for the doctor who gave me the disease so he can feed me the drugs that I'm paying for. And in Britain, doctors get a bonus, or an incentive as it's called, each time they diagnose a patient with one of these long-term diseases, which they've made up. And we know they're made up because doctors call these diseases incurable, which they never say about a real disease like leukemia or polio. So incurable is the doctors admitting that the disease is a pantomime and we're paying for the tickets. I may be a victim of a politician who tells me I'm poor in Europe. The fact is that Africa is swimming to Europe to escape poverty, to escape real poverty, and Europe is not swimming to Africa. So in Europe I'm rich, but the politician tells me I'm poor so that I feel poor and helpless, and I vote for him, I work for him. Or I may be the victim of a psychoanalyst who says that I was ruined in childhood, which I can't change, but he can. He's got a map and a way out, his way out of my childhood, which he owns. I just gave it to him. But he won't show me a way out. He'll probably keep me there for as long as he wants me there. Or I may be a victim of charity, a homelessness charity, which points to a homeless person and says, that's terrible, give me some money and I'll fix it. But the charity doesn't fix it. Charity staff never share their homes with the homeless or their offices, and they never ask politicians to share public buildings with the homeless either, even though public buildings are empty at night when the homeless are at their most homeless. But the charity needs the homeless on the streets where they can be seen to keep the charity in business and get more money. So the charity has two sets of victims, the donors who trust the charity and the homeless on the streets who are sort of unpaid brand ambassadors for the charity. Or I may be the victim of a cosmetic surgeon who says you're ugly. I can fix that if you pay me. But is that cosmetics or character assassination? And something similar happens with a psychiatrist or a doctor who says you've got depression, which is depressing news, so no wonder I'm depressed. Then he hooks me on pills and he's got me depressed and a drug addict. I'm working for him. But really he's just a mind reader and a character assassin who destroyed my self-confidence to peddle me drugs. So is there a way out of all this? Well, there is if you look at the chains and ask questions, and question anyone who calls you a victim or a patient or a survivor. Do they call you that to help you or to help themselves? And that's especially true with depression, which is not so much a mental health issue. Depression is in many cases a symptom of prosperity and peace. If you look at a war zone, there's no depression there, or very little. because people unite to beat the war. They come together for a common purpose. And they stop thinking about themselves all the time and start thinking about everyone else. Plus, it's helpful that the doctors, the mind-reading character assassins, are treating battlefield injuries and not making people depressed in order to sell them drugs. So a war zone reveals what depression is. It's self-regard, which is not a disease, it's an indulgence. And the cure is not pills. The cure for self-regard is not more self-regard either. It's not more thinking about yourself or dwelling on your past or worrying about how poor you are or how discriminated against you are or worrying about how you got interrupted at a meeting, which proves that sexism is out to get you. The cure for depression is helping others. So if you find somebody who's worse off than you and help them, the depression will vanish. That is elementary psychiatry. So either the doctors know this and can see it, or they don't know it, in which case, why are they doctors?